Okay, welcome back to the project Minisite video tutorials. In this particular section we are going to just add a couple more elements onto the page. We're going to have the actually, if I just open this, what we'll do is we'll add the white content area here and the little green bar there, and then add the styles to those. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is add a new layer. Just click that and rename the layer. I'll right click layer properties, we'll call this content. Okay, just make sure that it is above the shape layer and the background layer just by clicking it and dragging it into position. Just make sure it's on the top. That's great. Now we need to bring back our guide so that we can see where we are going to put this content area. We'll do this by just clicking Control and holding down, Control and semicolon. There we go. Or we can go to View, Show, Guides if you want to do it the longer way. Just make sure you have the tick there, and you can see the guides. So we're going to put the content area in here, but first of all we need to choose the correct color. So set foreground color, just drag that up to white. Make sure that's 255, 255, 255, which is pure white, and click OK. The next tool that we want to produce the shape is the rectangle tool, which is here. So just click the rectangle tool. I'll just hold it down. Just make sure you are on the standard rectangle tool rather than rounded rectangle tool from previously. So there we go. Again, if we just check the options up here, make sure fill pixels is still selected, normal 100%, and they're fine. So we're just going to drag the content shape out now, clicking somewhere near the guides, holding the mouse button down, dragging the shape down to here, and let go. And there we go, nice and white. Now we need to add the style to this. If I just again reference the design, you can see that it's got a nice inner shadow going on and a white line around there. We need to recreate that now. So going to our layer styles again, if I double click on the layer, that brings up our layer style palette. And I'll just go through the options that we need on here rather than everything we could do, just to save you being bogged down with information. The first thing we need is an inner glow. So if I click on that, make sure it's highlighted so we have all the options. The blend mode that we need is normal so that we can see it. The colour we want is pure black, which is 000 RGB. Okay. And you can see that starting to work on there. We're getting a little bit of a shadow, but it's not quite enough, so we'll change the size up to 10 pixels. And that's much more like what we need. The next thing we want to add is the stroke, which is the white line that goes around the layer. If I just click on that, you can see a wonderful red one appears, which we will be changing forthwith. We'll make sure the stroke is actually highlighted so we get the correct options again. The size wants to be 2. The position that wants to be inside. And the colour definitely does not want to be red. So if we click on there, and the RGB value for the colour we want is actually 205, 205. Can you guess? Can you? It's 205. And that gives us a nice grey colour, rather than pure white, which wouldn't stand out quite as well. So if I OK that, and I OK that, because that's everything that we need, what we can see is, especially if I hide the guides just temporarily, we can see that that's looking pretty nice. And in fact, it's looking exactly like it should do. Minimize that again. Okay, I'll bring the guides back, Control and semicolon, and the next thing we'll create is the little green bar. So we need a new layer, which I'm sure we're all very familiar with by now. Create new layer, rename the layer by double clicking on there, call it bar, and we need to select the correct colour for the bar. So if I go to set foreground colour, the RGB value for this is 132, 234, 132, 234, and 37. So that brings up our fluoro green. OK that. And again we have our rectangle tool already selected, so that's good. And dragging carefully, because there's not much room to play with, we need to just drag very carefully in there and across and down to there. And let go, and there we go. We have our bar. Now we need to add the style to the bar. So double click on the layer. Click. Bringing up our layer style palettes. The first thing we need to do is add a bevel and emboss. Just click on there and make sure it's highlighted. Inner bevel's fine. The size is much too large there, so we just need to put that down to 2. And the next thing we need to change is here, gloss contour. Now if we just click on there, it brings up this contour editor, and this enables us to change the contour of our bevel. Not something we really need to know now. What we need to know is the fact that there are custom ones already set up for us, and the one that we want to choose is ring. So if we just click on there, you can see that's changed there, and you can see the contour of it. And if we click OK, we'll just drag this out of the way so we can see what's going on. That's got the nice bevel on there now. And the next thing we need to add is just a gradient overlay. So if I click on there, that brings up these options. As you can see, that's changed it to black and white at the moment. Not to panic, that's just because the blend mode is on normal and the gradient is black and white, so that's applied that 100% to the layer. To get it to how we want, however, we just need to change the blend mode to something else, and that's to overlay. So it overlays onto the green a black to white gradient now, rather than fully putting it on there as it did on normal mode. Now that's a little bit strong because the opacity is 100%. So if we were to grab a slider and take that right down to 0, you can see there is no gradient anymore. And if we drag that back up to 100, it's a bit too intense. 75% is fine for our requirements. And that's the bar done. So if we click OK, and I just hide my guide yet again, you can see that's looking pretty nice. And if I bring up the final design, you can see that that is beginning to match just as we like to see. So that's the end of this video section.